All right, g'day. Here we are, week 14 of the NFL Circa contest, million survivors with Scott and Gabe. Scott, what do we got this week? Tell us what games are popping.
Well, we got a couple high-profile games here, but this is football weather right now. I really enjoy this time of year, and if you look at the sports that you can bet on, you can pretty much bet on everything today. You got your football, you got your basketball, there's some fighting, there's even a couple boxing matches tonight. So there's a little bit of everything. But this first game I want to talk to you about here, Adam, this one's really, really crazy. It's the Washington Commanders. I think everybody's betting this one because the Circa line that came out has flipped the favorite. What are you seeing on the money on this one?
Yeah, so this was a big one early in the week where like 90% of the money was on the Vikings. They started an underdog. They ended up a 2.5-point favorite, which is when the Circa number would have been put together. And now it's flipped back to Commanders being a 1-point favorite. Obviously, it looks like Jason Daniels is going to play. And that was kind of the back and forth earlier. Now it's about 74% of the money on the Vikings. 58% of the master money is on the Commanders. A lot of that is at 2.5, 1.5. But this one's got a big fat middle. If this game lands on one either side, it ain't a good result. So hopefully we can dodge that 1-point result. But yeah, this was purely quarterback info, injury news per se, someone coming back. And that's why this one's it ran hard Monday, Tuesday to the Minnesota side. And as I said, I've done a couple of shows this week and it was 90+% Minnesota money, even master money. But it started to come back now that it looks like the information is that their QB will play.
Well, there's an old saying, I think every bookmaker's told me this story, is that God protects the bookmakers. So there's no chance this lands on a 1 either side. Gabe, did you have any idea on this Washington game for the Survivor contest?
Well, Survivor, no, but just as far as the Millions contest, I find these games fascinating where the line is so different than the Circa posted line in the contest. Because there must be some times where if everyone's going to play it, it's worth the other side, right? And I don't have a feel for that in the contest, but it always kind of perks my ears up when I hear games like that swung so much.
Yeah, there was one a few weeks ago that the Lions, I think it was 10 on the contest and moved to 13.5, and that was one of our play of the week on the Giants. I think they ended up losing by 7 or something. But yeah, there is those spots, especially as you're getting towards the end of the season. And this was kind of one of them. I was starting to think maybe Minnesota was the one to play here, thinking there'd be a whole heap of people on Washington. I chickened out. I figured the leaders would be on Washington, and I might as well follow them while I'm trying to strategically stalk and sort of, work out how the hell do I move up from 17th up the chart over these next, 5 weeks?
Something like that, yeah.
Makes sense.
I guess we're ready for that next game, and this is the most important game of the weekend. Well, at least in my house, since Nebraska's not playing. Pittsburgh taking on the Ravens. Ravens looks like it's number 2 pick among all the VHP customers. Adam, tell me some good news on the numbers on this one.
Yeah, so I did use the Ravens kind of reluctantly. I just feel like that they're going to win this game and probably turn it up. But on the charts, this one, like the first 4 numbers of both volumes on both teams are identical. Like this is probably one of the most balanced positions I've seen in a long time. It is 68% of the master money is on the Ravens, but generally it's a sort of a bit of 4.5, bit of 5. And then a few have brought it up to 7. So this is another one where it feels like that 6 is right bang on the number. And it's sort of getting people sort of buying up and down a little bit on either side.
Gotcha. Gabe, what are you seeing on Survivor on this game?
So only of the 45 left, I think 5 people have Baltimore available in Circa Survivor. And this is the last spot of the season that they should be a favorite more than like -3, I think. So it'll be interesting if people want to go down to them to try to get on an island or take a safer team, because it doesn't feel that safe. Ravens only -6, but I think at least one or two people will be intrigued with their 400K entry on against the Steelers here.
Yeah, that's always a tough game with the Steelers, so I'm not entirely sure that's a good one here. But if you still got the Ravens left, you saved them for something. Maybe this is what you saved them for. I guess we'll see. Let's take a look at the third game, and this game kind of makes me laugh a little bit. This is the third most picked game, and it's the Tennessee Titans taking on the Browns. Adam, tell me, did anybody bet this game?
Yeah, there is a bit of money on this game actually, but this is another one where it was 4.5 Titans on the contest. It's down to 3.5. This could end up 0-0 for all we know. But it's looking like 64% of the money's on the Titans, 65% of the master money's on the Titans, and again, a lot of it's at 5 and 4.5, a little bit of the 4, bit of buyback at the 3.5 now that's there for Cleveland. But I think this was one that, as you're going down the list, and there was probably 4 or 5 games that were slightly a half point here or, a full point, etc., that would variance on what the current line was. So depending on your major picks, this was one that you could sort of say, 4.5 on the contest, 3.5 and moving down. We saw this kind of with the Raiders and the Browns last week before last, and that showed up where the money was right. So, maybe this one goes against the Browns.
Gotcha. Gabe, do you think anybody's going to take this one in Survivor?
Yes, 100%. This is the second or third most popular team right here, the Browns.
Wow.
Some people, this is the biggest favorite they can take. Other people maybe have Tampa Bay, but don't want to join the huge crowd on them. So, and also, Cleveland, it's not like anyone needs to save them for anything, right?
Right.
And lots of these teams, all the big favorites this week, not very available. So certainly Cleveland will get at least one, and maybe up to like 15, 20%.
Wow. I would hate to be betting my Survivor on the Browns, but okay. Oh, by the way, Adam, I got some more interest in wanting to join your group. Maybe you can go above 50 next year. Maybe you can get into 60 or more, because I've had some interest. I've had some interest that want to join you.
All right, great.
We'll go to the next one, and this is a team special to my heart because the quarterback imitates the Nebraska quarterback. That's none other than the Kansas City Chiefs. What kind of money are you seeing here on the Chiefs?
Yeah, so this one's about 72% money on the Chiefs. This is another one, and I used this where the Chiefs were -3. They were solid 3.5. They're actually now 4. So this one felt like a bit like Detroit. I mean, if you could pick Detroit late when that money come in hard, the -3 went to 3.5, started to peak at sort of 4. This just feels like one of those ones that, worst case scenario, you push. Chiefs have been a little rough lately. Texans have been decent, but I chose this one a bit. I think maybe in 3 of my 5 and in my main entry, the -3. The master chart's well balanced, but not a lot of volume.
Gotcha. This game really jumped off the page at me. I thought this was a theft, stealing Kansas City at -3. And I was talking to an originator. I think it was this morning. It might have been yesterday. Days kind of run together for me. But he said, you got to be careful because there's a couple offensive linemen that are questionable on the Kansas City side. And Denver's or Houston's front line could cause them a lot of problems with this offensive line problem.
It is one of those lines that just smells a little bit when you see it. You feel like it should be a little higher, and you're just going, But when you look there and you're trying to find 5 games, it just felt like one you just, I think a lot of people use. And again, my tactic right now is not to stray too far unless I really find something I like with what sort of the off numbers, etc.
Makes sense. Gabe, what do you think about Survivor? Is everybody taking Kansas City?
No one should be on this game. Both these teams have some nice future spots, so I think everyone's real happy just to look elsewhere.
Let it go. Sounds good. Well, let's go to the 5th one. This is the Seattle on the road against the Falcons. and my customers are playing the Falcons. What do you think about that one, Adam?
Yeah, this one showed up. This could have been potentially a play of the week, but the overall balance on the chart is pretty close. On the master chart, it's like 98% of the money's on the Falcons. Generally, they got on at the 7.5, but there is some at the 7 there as well. This looks like it. I think on the master chart, this will be a heavy one tomorrow for the Falcons.
Sounds good. What do you see in there, Gabe? Anything?
So a few people have Seattle and probably will play them. A few weeks ago, Seattle seemed like a really strong team to save for their late season spot against Carolina, but I don't think people want to do that anymore. So expect to see the last few Seattle people use them. Maybe someone saves them, but not too much action, but probably at least one or two.
Sounds good. Well, you kind of hinted at this already, Gabe, but I'll let you go ahead and talk about it. You were talking about Tampa Bay a little bit earlier, being the top pick in Survivor. Was not selected by my guys at all in the millions. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're thinking about Tampa Bay?
Okay, just from the line point of view and the availability, it's a big favorite, and 80% of people can take it. Which, when there's so many other big favorites that are all only like 6% available or 8%, 11%, there's no room for anyone to go except Tampa Bay. So, and you got to think most people who have the choice of Tampa Bay or Cleveland, they're going to be a lot feeling safer with Tampa Bay. But worth saying, I have, or I know someone sharp who would like the line on New Orleans. So, I don't know. But wow. It's gonna be the main, number one Survivor game in all pools everywhere. So everyone in Survivor still is going to be watching this one very closely. I think at least half the field's going to pick Tampa Bay, maybe more.
That makes a lot of sense to me, especially instead of taking the Browns. But okay, Adam, can you tell us anything about the line movement on this Tampa game, or where the money's at?
This was one. The Circa contest was 8.5. The line's pretty solid to 8. I had looked at it potentially of using the Saints in a couple. But when I was looking at the charts, like 96% of the money's on the Buccaneers. It is 84% of the master money is on the Saints, but that's really, really low volume. And then on the money line as well, it was all Tampa Bay, and there was zero, wasn't even a penny on the Saints on their money line. So I think if, looking at Survivor and you have it available, yes, it's going to be the hot pick and everything, and you try and zig when others are zagging, but this might be just a week to try and survive through it and find another week where you want to go up against the lesser spots.
Yeah, can't argue with that, especially with Christmas, right around the corner. That Thanksgiving effect, just want to make Thanksgiving, it's like times 10 now that if you can get an entry to Christmas, right? So
right.
We'll see how tight people play.
Definitely all true. There is one thing that, Adam, you've kind of hid the lead. We kind of have a lead on this show, and it's called Play of the Day. I get a lot of people sending me messages about this during the week. Are you going to give us your Play of the Day, or are you going to hold it out until tomorrow?
No, so there is one standing out right now. We've got 71% of the money on the Broncos. 89% of the master money is on the Raiders. Now, there is some at 9, there is some at 8. There's a chunk at 7.5. I mean, 7.5 to 9 usually doesn't mean anything, except there's been a lot of missed extra points in recent times. But yeah, right now, Raiders are the play. What I've noticed is even some Sundays, when I look at the charts, it kind of evens up and levels out. But these things are still hitting that we're choosing Saturday night. So we're going Raiders home, plus 7.5. And I know the Broncos have won some games on the road, but I think they've only generally won by about 4 or 5 points. So Raiders are a really crappy team, but you know what? We'll take the touchdown and the hook and see what can happen.
Yeah, the hook looks really valuable in this spot. Gabe, what are you seeing on Survivor for this game?
This game, so I think 3 people have Denver available, and it looks like they're the last time they're going to be a nice favorite like this. I think even one of them on Twitter announced they were going to be on the pick already. But it's you got to think the Christmas spot. Denver plays Kansas City, and if no one has Denver, then it might be an $18 million team. So maybe they're around, maybe they get burnt. Regardless, I think probably should be some action on this.
Sounds real good. Well, that's about all I've got here with the VHP Proxy customers as far as millions concerned. Gabe, is there anything you want to go talk about a little bit about Survivor?
Well, I don't have anything in mind except it's huge stakes right now, these decisions. And it's easy to imagine if you were there how you just do your same process, right? You just stick to the same thing, but a 400K entry is no joke. So I really look forward to seeing tonight what everyone picked. See if everyone clumped up, see if anyone got some courage, maybe went down on maybe Miami at the Jets, or how many people in Cleveland, or maybe someone gets on that Washington-Minnesota game on a hot read. I don't know. It seems kind of like just a slow build. Now that we've cleared through Thanksgiving, a slow build to another like Christmas holiday fireworks. And I'm just as a fan of Survivor, it's fun to watch. I hope someone scoops all the money. I don't want to see a 40-way chop. I want to see one guy 18 million. But I think our line's like maybe 6.5 people right now after most people survived last week.
Yeah, well, I got to tell you, just from being the proxy, I enter the entries different when it gets this late. Like Thanksgiving, I always check it 3 times before I hit submit. But on Thanksgiving, I was doing it more times than that because it's just a whole different world. This isn't just any other Tuesday or any other Sunday. You're talking about serious money here. And I was feeling that way when we had 900 left. Obviously, I'm not lucky enough to have any this year, but Adam is promising me to have some next year. So that'll be okay. Because, Adam, I was trying to figure out how many entries you had to have to guarantee the win, and the number's too high. Just so
I did look at that about a month ago, and it was quite extraordinary. So
yeah, it was unreasonable. It was definitely unreasonable. But yeah, it's definitely the decisions seem like they're the same, but they couldn't be more different.
Oh yeah. Sorry to cut you off, but also just thinking about the Week 18 stuff. And once we get to Week 18, we're going to see which coaches are resting, which aren't. But right now, with so many games left, it's just really hard to know which teams are worth saving or not. So maybe everyone just burns all the teams like Rams and Seahawks this weekend, so they're just rolling the dice Week 18, or maybe they're saving the good teams. From what we saw in Thanksgiving, all the people like gambling on the dogs, like we spoke about last week, it just makes the contest to have an interesting dynamic with certain type of players who are involved.
Definitely true. Adam, what do you think?
I think we wish everyone good luck tomorrow and see the survivors, who's sweating what. But yeah, it's definitely getting to the point where it's, just interesting seeing what's picked and then who sort of goes out and the zig and the zags. I suspect there'll be a lot of people just play safe on the Buccaneers. I wouldn't want to be sweating on the Browns, that's for sure. But yeah, I mean, good luck to everyone still in it. Good luck to those that are competing in the millions. New quarter starting this week. So, everyone's starting 0-0 for the last, what do we got? 14, 15, 16, 5 weeks left. And you know what? Good luck and see how it goes.
Hey, thanks, Adam. Good luck to you as well, man.
Yeah, another great week coming up. So Nebraska doesn't get a play until the bowl game, but I'll still say go Big Red.
Cheers, everyone.